It is such a treat to be back here at St Andrews. I absolutely loved my time here. They were some of my happiest years, which makes it so incredibly exciting to be back here today.
The palace is quiet. What about the whispers? Deafening. For months, the public received carefully constructed updates. Catherine, Princess of Wales, stated that she was resting, recovering, and grateful for privacy. However, the truth was more real and painful. It started with a disappearance. One of the world's most photographed ladies disappeared from public notice practically overnight. Royal insiders cited health issues, cancer treatment, and weariness, but astute royal observers spotted irregularities. Security personnel were noticed near inconspicuous private hospitals. William is observed leaving activities early, his face abnormally anxious. Kate's staff rushed to erase film of an emotional Kate at a Windsor charity event months ago, which some think depicted her as an expectant mother. A leaked letter has recently appeared, startling both royalists and skeptics. Catherine's confidential note was handwritten, dated, and presumably intended solely for her closest confidant. But somebody shared it, and the contents are devastating, because in this letter, Catherine reveals to the public what the palace has refused to confirm: the birth of a hidden fourth child. There is no royal fanfare, no christening, there's no formal title, just a modest, clandestine birth that was never supposed to be known. And her words contain not just the sorrow of secrets, but also the echo of something far deeper: betrayal, terror, and a mother's struggle to shield her kid from the same institution pledged to protect her. Why was the pregnancy hidden? Why has this child never been recognized by the monarch? And why does it feel like history is repeating itself, as if Diana's shadow is greater than ever? Some claim the child was not born in marriage. Others speculate about palace cover-ups, coerced quiet, and even intervention by Queen Camilla herself. But here's the truth. After Kate confessed, everything changed. Because the world is now watching, and the firm's hold on the narrative is crumbling rapidly. In the next chapters, we'll follow the secret history of Kate's clandestine pregnancy, William's silent breaking point, Camilla's merciless hand, and the tragic emotional toll on a family that just wanted to love but was instructed to hide. What does it mean to be royalty if your own kid is seen as a scandal? The truth is no longer under their control. Catherine has spoken. This time, there is no going back. It began with whispers, the type of quiet murmurs that flutter down royal halls and vanish before anybody dares to repeat them. Initially, there was nothing to indicate anything different. Catherine, Princess of Wales, had stepped down from public responsibilities following abdominal surgery, which the palace blamed solely on health reasons. But then, the quiet increased. Not simply a lack of royal activities, but an intentional erasure of Catherine herself. For months, she was nowhere to be found, not at school drop-offs, on vacation, or even in the background of family photos of Prince George, Princess Charlotte, or Prince Louis with their father. Instead, William seemed alone, confused, and unusually private. A family previously seen as the contemporary face of the monarchy has vanished from the public eye. Initially, the people expressed sympathy. Catherine's reputation for diligence and quiet strength had gained her the nation's trust. The official story, that she was recuperating from a delicate operation and receiving preventive cancer therapy, was accepted without any opposition. However, contradictions emerged over time. A rumor appeared claiming that security personnel had been dispatched to the London clinic weeks before the palace announced her procedure. Then followed an anonymous leak from a maternity nurse who said she'd been asked by royal aides for a confidential engagement involving a high-profile figure. Although no names were named, suspicion soared. The tipping point occurred when social media users discovered footage from a private charity event held near Windsor in late June. Despite being short and blurry, the video revealed a thin but considerably bigger Catherine, who was wearing a coat to protect her tummy from the high nighttime temperatures. Her face was dazzling, but something about her body language, guarded, cautious, seemed off. The video was removed from the internet within hours. Behind closed doors, the palace clamped down. Staff were reportedly directed to lock down all medical discussions. Media queries were answered with a firm denial. Even relatives and acquaintances were kept at arm's length. But why? Why the secrecy? Sources close to the Middleton family have privately expressed worry. One old family associate remarked, "It wasn't about shame, it was about safety. Catherine wasn't permitted to make her own decisions anymore." This just fueled popular interest. Was this a high-risk pregnancy? Was the infant born prematurely? Or, as many suspected, was the pregnancy concealed purposely to safeguard the crown's image? Then came the most disturbing rumors. Camilla had planned the quiet from the beginning. According to many insiders, Queen Camilla pressed for complete secrecy, warning that any unexpected addition to William and Catherine's brood would damage the carefully crafted narrative of a monarchy still recovering from scandal. One employee allegedly overheard her saying, "There's no room for complications. The future has already been mapped." This terrible remark had new significance once the leaked letter from Catherine appeared. In her own words, she spoke of seclusion, being watched but not seen, and fearing what joy would cost. Although she never specifically implicated any family member, the tone was clear. This woman was fighting more than just an illness. She was fighting a whole system. Behind the formality of titles and tiaras, Catherine was going through what many called the most guarded and repressed royal pregnancy since Princess Diana's. And, unlike her other 3 pregnancies, this one was shrouded in silence, one she did not select. The emotional toll was palpable even before the truth was revealed. William, who is generally composed in public, was observed snapping at reporters, avoiding events, and leaving commitments early. Close acquaintances said that he was distant, distracted, and burdened by something no one could quite name. It wasn't only about a youngster, it was about what that youngster represented. A 4th child, born in secret, denied the world, and even a name, raised frightening concerns about who truly controls the royal tale. More importantly, what else are they hiding? As the public eventually discovered, this was more than simply a hidden birth. It was a war for dominance, and Catherine, the once silent princess, was now fighting back. A royal child's birth is always a spectacle, complete with trumpets, gold-plated easels, and a flood of media attention. What about this time? There was no balcony wave, no portrait. There is no formal announcement from Buckingham Palace, not even a whispered name. As of today, the kid has received no recognition from the crown. No formal registration has been made public, no hospital confirmation, no birth certificate. It's as if the child does not legally exist, and yet they do. Catherine's secret letter, which has been validated by 2 independent royal correspondents, has a heartbreaking confirmation. He was born in silence, wrapped in love, but not in safety. A boy, a 4th child, her child, William's kid. Nonetheless, the monarchy appears to be frantic to deny that anything occurred. Why? According to sources close to the royal family, this infant was never supposed to be seen in public. The pregnancy, found late, was labeled a complication in an already difficult year for the firm. King Charles' continuing health problems, Camilla's increasingly contentious presence. Of all, the perpetual shadow of Meghan and Harry hangs over every royal choice. However, having a baby is not a publicity strategy. A baby represents life. Even the most devoted royal insiders have been taken aback by the choice to keep this birth hidden. One courtier, commenting on the condition of anonymity, stated, "There was terror. Not only is there a public response, but the succession plan is being destabilized. Depending on the circumstances, this youngster may have raised questions they did not want to answer." What type of questions? The most deadly kinds are paternity, legality, and purpose. According to unconfirmed accounts, royal officials expressed anxiety about public assumptions if the newborn did not look like his brothers. Some advocated for early genetic testing. Others apparently fought for keeping the entire incident off the books. One scary phrase appears in many leaks: no record, no risk. There are even darker views, claiming that the palace's choice was not just strategic, but also punitive. Catherine was forced into silence, led to feel that the safest option for her kid was to live in the shadows. Those who know her well describe a mother torn apart. A mother who had dedicated her life to royal duty is now faced with the unthinkable, choosing between her personal serenity and her child's prominence. Catherine reportedly pleaded for a peaceful baptism, a modest, private ceremony in Windsor, with no cameras and no public participation. Camilla, reportedly enraged at being cut out of the loop, apparently rejected the plan. According to one royal insider, she wanted this child erased from the story. What Camilla and the palace did not expect was the strength of a mother's voice. Catherine's letter, undoubtedly written in anguish and desperation, has undone all they sought to hide, and now everyone knows. They may not know the baby's name, they may not have seen his face, but they are aware of his existence, and that awareness contains the first step in breaking the bond of silence. Because a royal child without a title is one thing, but a royal child denied his very existence? That's not only heartbreaking, that is risky, and people are no longer silent. For a guy raised in the spotlight, Prince William has always worn his mask effectively. The future king, the dedicated spouse, the steady hand in an otherwise chaotic family. But behind closed doors, William was disintegrating. The birth of the hidden fourth child did not merely shock Catherine, it shattered the fundamental fabric of their marriage. Because, according to many palace insiders, William was not given the complete picture until it was much too late. Some claim he found out about the pregnancy in the third trimester, following weeks of inexplicable absences and coldness from his wife. Others believe he was aware earlier but was pressed by senior royals, including Camilla and Charles, to let the professionals handle it. But one thing is clear: William's reaction was far from regal. According to reports, once the pregnancy was confirmed, he went into a secret conference with his father and Camilla, demanding to know why Catherine had been secluded without his complete approval. What's the answer? A terrifying sentence allegedly said by Charles: "It was for the crown. We needed control." Camilla, according to a royal aide present during the altercation, dismissed William's rage with a chilly remark: "You will thank us later. Chaos isn't a heritage." For William, the remarks were heartbreaking. The same establishment that had failed his mother was now turning against his wife and his own kid. Following that encounter, William became a shadow of himself. Public appearances were brief and devoid of enthusiasm. He started missing events completely. Close acquaintances said that he would frequently leave without explanation, lost in thought, unreachable, and even visibly on the verge of collapse. Inside Adelaide Cottage, the anxiety was palpable. Catherine, overwhelmed by pain and secrecy, allegedly begged William to fight back, to seek acknowledgement for their kid. But, caught between duty and catastrophe, he kept mute. It was not a weakness. It was terrifying. The same anxiety that plagued Diana. For William, the strain of being next in line was like invisible chains. Every decision had far-reaching ramifications, affecting the monarchy, the Commonwealth, and the crown's own future. However, this time it was not about foreign policy or reputation. It was about his child. And he did not act. That's what haunts him the most. According to people close to the couple, William eventually acknowledged to Catherine that he had not fought hard enough, that he believed being silent would buy them time, that the infant may eventually enjoy a free and serene life, free of the weight of royal titles. But when the facts began to emerge, the illusion crumbled. William recognized that quiet did not provide safety. It was complicated. Catherine ultimately decided to compose the letter that would rip apart the palace's firmly guarded walls. And though it wasn't supposed to be made public, William allegedly informed her later, "If this is what you need to do, then I'll stand by you." It was too late to reverse the harm, but not too late to put things right. From that point on, William began to alter. He stopped allowing the palace to control their narrative. He started limiting Camilla's access to the children. He canceled commitments that did not include Catherine. Most importantly, he began defending his wife in ways he had never done before. Because in the end, William was not just facing the weight of the crown. He faced the one question that no royal ever wants to answer. Are you a father first, or a future king? If there was ever a time when Queen Camilla demonstrated the breadth of her authority, it was during the peaceful months preceding Catherine's abduction. While the rest of the world posed polite inquiries, Camilla was delivering directives behind palace walls, not out of concern, but out of control. Camilla viewed the fourth kid as an issue right away. Not a blessing, not a legacy, a threat. Multiple royal aides have now reported that Camilla requested complete media secrecy once Catherine's pregnancy was confirmed. Not for health concerns, and certainly not out of maternal sympathy, but because she was afraid of what the child's presence would mean. An unexpected royal birth? A fourth Cambridge kid with Diana's lineage and popular support? For Camilla, it served as a reminder that no matter how many titles she had, the public's heart still belonged to Diana, and now Kate. And what about this baby? This infant had the potential to detract even more attention from her and Charles. According to sources, Camilla herself intervened in the medical arrangements. Camilla, not the physicians, picked the institution. A quiet private clinic with no royal pomp, leaks, or paparazzi flashbulbs. She allegedly ensured that no standard documentation was filed under the Windsor name. One former employee stated it bluntly. The purpose was not protection. The goal was to disappear. According to many insiders, the sentence that rang through the hallways of Clarence House was chillingly simple. Erase the evidence. This meant no royal stationery. There are no couriers. There are no acknowledgements. Only a few employees understood the truth, and those who did were reportedly ordered to sign revised NDAs or face dismissal. Camilla's commands did not end at logistics. She allegedly advised Charles to keep William in the dark for as long as possible. What's the logic? Delay equals sign control. She reasoned that the longer the truth was kept hidden, the simpler it would be to deal with the consequences. Control, however, comes at a cost. Camilla became increasingly nervous as public interest rose. She allegedly directed security personnel to search social media for any suggestion of a secret baby. Paparazzi who had caught footage near Windsor were reportedly contacted by private representatives who offered to buy and remove their images. When rumors of a leaked letter surfaced, Camilla went into what sources characterized as a full-blown panic. She dreaded retaliation as much as exposure. Interfering with a mother's freedom to announce her kid and celebrate her family might result in negative public perception. It would mark the end of her shaky public recovery. All efforts were made to soften her appearance. The Queen Consort branding, the Compassion Tour, the beautifully prepared photographs featuring children, gone. That is exactly what started to happen. When Catherine's confession surfaced, social media exploded. Camilla's name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Cruel, controlling, jealous, a legacy of erasure. The story she had attempted to suppress now had a pulse of its own, and it was becoming louder by the hour. Camilla wished to delete the baby. She wound up deleting herself, because the world saw beyond the hush. In the court of public opinion, no queen can win a battle against her mother's love. For many who witnessed Princess Diana's life unfold, the pain, deceit, and silence, The story of Catherine's hidden fourth child is disturbingly similar. It's as if history did not just repeat itself. It never stopped. Decades ago, Diana stood alone behind the same royal walls, pregnant and expected to behave, smile, and follow a script that was never written for her specifically. She was hailed in public, but criticized behind closed doors. When she stepped out of line, when she talked, sobbed, or dared to confront the monarchy, they labeled her unstable, emotional, difficult. Catherine is now suffering the same crushing weight. The stolen letter showed not just the presence of a secret kid, but also the agony of being controlled, monitored, and silenced. In one unsettling moment, Catherine writes, "I believed that love would protect me, but I forgot what palace walls are designed for. Not safety, but concealment." Diana may have written this statement herself, because despite the glossy headlines and the appearance of a contemporary monarchy, the institution has evolved far less than it would like the public to think. And nothing reveals that fact more than what it did to two women, two moms. One who died too young and one who is still battling to breathe in the same gilded prison. The public has recognized the parallels. "This is Diana all over again," stated one popular post. "She was silenced. And now they're attempting to do it with Kate." Diana's previous staff members have also come up. A lifelong royal footman told a UK publication, "There are too many similarities to ignore. Isolation, secrecy, and control. Nobody seems to have learnt anything from what happened to her." Catherine, however, has learnt and remembered. Unlike Diana, Catherine maintained her quiet for years. She played the long game. She acquired the public's trust and the respect of the world stage. But in doing so, she absorbed decades of pressure from a family that is still afraid of emotional honesty. When she eventually spoke up, even in private, she didn't simply express herself. She spoke for every royal lady forced to prioritize image over gut. For any mother who has witnessed a system transform her kid into a liability. For everyone who has ever questioned whether the crown valued loyalty over love. This is why the confession triggered such a reaction. Because behind the firm's glossy facade, the chilly machinery Diana attempted to flee is still operational. But now it is deteriorating. Catherine's popularity has reached all-time highs. Hashtags such as #JusticeForKate and #LetTheChildBeSeen have swamped social media. Supporters have asked for probes, openness, and responsibility from Parliament. And at the heart of it all is a child who never requested to be born into such a turmoil. The monarchs want to prevent controversy. They established a movement. Diana famously stated, "I want to be the queen of people's hearts." Catherine never asked for that label, but after this secret, this heartache, and this moment, she's earned it. Diana's legacy is no longer simply a memory. It is a torch. And Catherine is clutching it, not in defiance of the crown, but in protection of something far more important: her children, her truth. Diana lost her voice. The British monarchy has always survived by controlling the narrative, molding reality into tradition and censoring anything that contradicted the picture. However, this time the story slipped through their fingers. Catherine did not hold a news conference or give a television interview. All it needed was a single letter, one confession. A mother eventually says, "Enough." And now everyone knows there is a kid, unrecognized, unnamed, and invisible. Not out of shame, but because of fear. Fear of scandal, fear of legacy. Fear that this little life would break the appearance of control that the palace has spent years establishing. But here's the twist. By concealing the baby, they've produced something even more deadly than a royal rumor. They have established a public reckoning. People aren't simply inquisitive, they're enraged. Not simply at the cover-up, but also what it signifies. A system that still prioritizes quiet over safety. Appearances trump humanity. a monarchy that would sooner exterminate a kid than confront an inconvenient reality. But Catherine didn't keep silent. She spoke, and in doing so, she changed the rules. William is now standing by her. The public rallies behind her. And the palace? It's attempting to contain a reality that no longer belongs to it. It's not simply about succession, titles, or scandals. This is the story of a mom who broke the chain and refused to raise her kid in the shadows of shame and secret. The monarchs attempted to hide a baby. Instead, they sparked a movement, and now the public is wanting more. More truth, increased transparency, more humanity from a family claiming to represent them. Ultimately, this youngster may never wear a crown. But he's already altered the royal heritage in ways no title ever could. Because of love, honesty, and courage, they do not need a throne. They only need a voice. And now they have one.